He's back! Guys, he's back! He's back! Guys, Pip's back!
He's back. He's back! We're back! And if we're gonna do this right, we're gonna do it legacy sequel style. Restarting the same way we began 10 years ago.
Oh my god! It's been 10 years!
Celebrating the best the movie year had to offer. This is my top 10 best movies of 2025. Welcome back, film family. Those are words I have not spoken in a long time. I have missed you guys. I have missed so much movie goodness this past year, which means there's lots of great movies I want to talk about, and I want to talk about them a lot, because you guys know how I usually am, which means we're gonna do a top 20 this time instead of a top 10. That is a terrible first impression for any newcomers for the comeback of the decade? The century? I don't know. You guys decide. We're a quarter through the century, so we might as well call it that, marketing purposes. But I'm sure you haven't forgotten the most important part, which is you starting the conversation in the comments below with your favorite movies of 2025. Make it a top 10, top 15, top 20, top 25. You decide. There are no rules. We're all friends and family here, and there were a lot of good movies, good shows, good everything this year. So, let's get started. Joaquin Trier's Sentimental Value is, for me, the film Worst Person in the World was for so many others a few years back. I know, big shock. The writer loved the movie about filmmaking. Whoopity-doo. I don't know why, but I find comfort in exploring stories about the discomfort of having to choose between your commitment to art, because it's who you are, it's what you have to be, it's what you have to do, and the commitment to your loved ones, to being there for your family, and the beautifully delicate approach in this film in exploring the reconnection between this distant father in Stellan Skarsgård and his daughter, who, despite her anger, despite her resentment towards her father, who is an artist in and of himself, still chooses to commit to the arts. Beautifully played by Renate Reinsve. I hope that's how you pronounce her name. Elle Fanning brilliantly serving as this narrative middleman as they both separately work through their issues to come together. It's just so well done. There's a groundedness in exploring how each approaches their art and how that connects to their broken emotions, what was missing throughout their lives. And then there's a heightenedness to them coming together. As someone who, again, didn't really care for Worst Person in the World, there's a scene about 10-15 minutes into this film where they both meet at a cafe for him to show his daughter the script. And as soon as the scene was over, I was like, I'm in. This is genuinely one of the biggest surprises of the year. It's not the biggest. We'll get to that in about 10 spots on this list. The Long Walk is genuinely one of the tensest cinema experiences I've had this whole year. Might have been the tensest cinema experience of the year, and it's certainly one of the most tense in recent memory. I know I like Stephen King adaptations. I love Francis Lawrence as the director, and, Mark Hamill playing the villain, never misses. And spoiler alert, he doesn't miss in this movie either. The biggest question mark for me walking into The Long Walk, no pun intended, because I was going to sit down watching the film, was how are they going to keep the tension, the suspense going for nearly 2 hours when it's just these guys walking down the road? And right away with Charlie Plummer, who's a fucking asshole in this, you create a villain for me to root against. And it's not even the fucking general who wants to kill them all. The sense of camaraderie that is generated between all these young men, David Johnson, Cooper Hoffman, Ben Wang, everyone else around them, and the little bits of information that you gain throughout the film at the exact right beats to keep the tension, to add to the tension. The bad decision making, the heightened conflicts, the larger than life personalities, the worldviews clashing for them all. It's all so well done. I was constantly biting my nails throughout this film because at one point I'm thinking, oh, this person is definitely winning, and then no, this person is definitely winning, and oh shit, that person just died, so they're definitely not winning. And really seeing how the system rigs the game in and of itself against these people who, you know, have to sign up anyway because that makes sense. It's almost like it's reflecting the prison we all find ourselves in. But you know, I'm here to talk about movies, not going on a diatribe, because that's, you know, very dangerous. Novacane is genuinely one of the funnest action films of the past decade. I don't remember the last time a film was so innovative with its action elements. Wait, no. I do remember, it was the film that birthed the greatest action franchise of all time, John Wick. Please give me 100 more of these films, as long as they star Jack Quaid, who is so charming, so fun, so engaging to watch in this. I love a good rom-com action, you know, gore on all of these ingredients piled on together, and Jack Quaid as our star just really work well together. And it's not even the last time we're going to be talking about Jack Quaid. James Gunn's Superman is honestly the movie we most needed this year. And the only proof I need to back that up is, you know, the discourse that came from James Gunn's Superman. One of the best scores of the year, a star being born in David Cornsweet, who just embodies everything this Superman is. The classic, traditional values of the character. I love the entirety of Superman's portrayal in this film, from his sentimentality, to his sensibility towards other, to his awareness, his priorities in this film. I love that we have yet again a great comic book movie couple in David Cornsweet's Superman and Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane. Also, by far the best version of Lois and Clark together that we have, by far the best version of Lois Lane that we've ever had on a live action screen. This film just brings to life so many elements of Superman's mythos that were missing. This is not my favorite Superman of all time. That is still very much Man of Steel. This is a Superman that exists on the right time, in the right context, because this is the Superman our world needs. I love Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor. Again, the best Lex Luthor by far we've had in a live action screen. James Gunn can really pull off a Superman film. James Gunn doesn't really need to just do outcast stories anymore. Even though, yes, Superman is essentially an outcast story, but the way he approaches this very mainstream, classic superhero of all superheroes, Superman, he is that symbol, he is that image that you have on your wall, and every other superhero just followed. That is this film. That is that score by Michael Giacchino. That is who brings everyone together. Superman doesn't need to be the character that changes all through his story. Superman is naturally someone who's going to have a flat character arc. He's not the one that has the biggest change. He is the one that influences change for the better in everyone around him. And James Gunn nailed that. One battle after another comes up next because, you know, it wouldn't be me without some controversy. The movie everyone is deeming the film of the year. And it would be for me as well if you shave about half an hour of it. Don't get me wrong, I still love this film. I had a few small beers before watching it. I had a few small beers while watching it. I had a few more small beers while re-watching it. Everyone in here is on another level. DiCaprio especially completely disappears into Bob Ferguson. Infinity is a revelation, and also kind of greatest fucking name of all time, if we're honest with ourselves. And PTA, I love this man. I'm gonna need him to direct a proper action film next. That wave scene on the road is some of the best filmmaking I have genuinely ever seen. The way I was biting my nails, the way I was itching up to the edge of my seat, I couldn't understand what was coming next. That's the kind of quality filmmaking I was witnessing. Honestly, give PTA Novacane 2. Can you imagine how insanely off-kilter that shit would be? That's the level Leonardo DiCaprio is on in this film. He's completely off-kilter as Bob Ferguson. This is a man on a downward spiral trying to fucking not lose his mind throughout the events of this film. It's equally tense, but also really hilarious. I cannot believe the amount of laughs I had in this film, and immediately had to, stop them because the following scene was so tense. We're going to be talking about it next year, but this odyssey across America, a chase to save the next generation from the powers that be. There's a lot this film is saying without saying, but it says it in really fun, but also really scary, realistically frightening ways. Wake Up Dead Man is yet another win for both Rian Johnson as a filmmaker and the Knives Out franchise. I need 100 more of these to be made. The man just can't miss. And while this is the weakest out of the three for me, that's only in the sense where the previous two made it to my top 10 of the year, and this one has landed at number 15. The biggest issue here was really that the ensemble was very underdeveloped. I suspected 2 people throughout the entire film, and I was right on one of them. But what I love about these films, about this franchise as a whole really, is how different they really are in what they're exploring, what their stories are actually saying about themselves. The depth goes to different levels. There's something new to be gained from every experience watching these films. By far, this is the best shot Knives Out film. The use of lighting and shadows to tell its story, to go from suspect to suspect, the way it integrates religion and politics so naturally because, they are naturally combined together, and how it distinguishes religion from faith. There's a beautiful scene in this film that's just Josh O'Connor speaking on the phone to someone else, and it almost brought me to tears. Daniel Craig, he's just having the time of his life playing these roles. Every time he comes back as Benoit Blanc, there's something new for him to do, and he definitely has the best hair out of all the films in this one. Benoit Blanc is a suave motherfucker in this one. And where Wake Up Dead Man misses with some of its characters, in fact, most of these characters, it is easily the one that emotionally resonates the most, with the most thematic depth to its story, that has something to say and honestly offers the most development to Benoit Blanc as a character. We don't have a confirmed Knives Out 4 yet. It definitely has to be set in winter. It definitely has to be set like in the snow. But this is a Knives Out film that has most changed Benoit Blanc as a person. He doesn't really need to change. He's another character that easily fits into the flat character archetype, but you can tell by the end of this film, this man has been changed by his experience with these people. Is This Thing On is yet another massive surprise for 2025 and Bradley Cooper's redemption arc as a director. This is a film that just allows its story, its emotion, its characters, and the performances to shine. Will Arnett gives the performance of his life. The chemistry with Laura Dern is so sweet and endearing. It's such a mature film, emotionally speaking. The way it deals with all its complicated issues, just when you think it's going in this one direction because it's clear it has to go that one direction, it deals with it in a surprising way. Not to say that it avoids cliches. In certain moments it embraces cliches and makes those cliches better. It makes the stories that misuse those cliches before kind of look better in reflection. And Bradley Cooper is hilarious. You know, this man was humbled by his previous effort that he had to make such a great film and humble himself by casting himself as someone whose name is Balls. Just the way I walked into this film going, is this going to work? Is Bradley Cooper going to win me back as a director? And is Will Arnett, starring in the John Bishop biopic, going to work? And it really did. The stand-up comedy was really bad when it had to be bad. It works in the film's favor. And you see just this man putting into work and be passionate about something. Laura Dern is just a treasure. There is nothing this woman can do, and in the past few years, every time she's in a film, she just surprises the hell out of me. Have I spoken about their chemistry? Because it is insane that I've never seen them work together, and they're just that freaking good. Companion is not only one of the best films of the year, I'd say it's the best outright proper horror film of the year. If nothing did it before, this makes Sophie Thatcher a star. She's even better in this than she was in Heretic. Jack Quaid, he takes all that charm and he turns that shit upside down to be one of the most vile people on screen I've seen all year. This film is just really smart. I somewhat understand why most people are not speaking about it right now at the end of the year, because the trailers spoiled the ever-living fuck out of this film. You know what I did? I saw the teaser trailer and I stopped there. So when this film gets to that reveal, my mind was genuinely blown. I had no idea where we were going to go next, and it took me on a trip, man. It is such a smart film, and how it subverts its own ideas. Again, one of the biggest surprises of the year. Most of this top 20 comprises of a lot of big surprises, and I'm just glad I didn't forget to Companion, because every time I think about this film, a smile comes up to my face. Many of you know I'm not a vroom vroom guy whatsoever, but Bottom Gun Maverick, I'm sorry, F1 the movie, if you want to call it that much more boring title, took me to a whole nother level sitting on the IMAX watching it. I was sitting in that car right in front of Brad Pittster, racing those tracks, man. It was exhilarating. I don't even think exhilarating is the word, really, but I was in it, man. I disappeared from that screen and I went right into those tracks. I don't know what they're doing with Brad Pitt in a lab in between him shooting movies, but in a film that is all about this dude regaining his youth by instructing the next generation, getting them to do better than he himself did, to embrace the lifestyle, the racing, the exhilaration, the adrenaline, to disappear into that car. This dude just looks younger as the film goes along. As he completes his arc, he just feels, sounds, moves, looks younger on screen. The soundscape, the soundtrack, the visuals. As a non-F1 guy, I don't give a shit about cars. I was riveted. I was white-knuckled, grabbing my seat, rooting for these people. This is the experience I long to have every time I sit down in an IMAX, every time I have a bucket of popcorn in my hand. Joseph Kosinski can do no wrong. This man can direct a movie about the Yellow Pages next. I'm sure it'll be the most intense cinema experience we can all collectively have. Predator Badlands just misses out on our top 10, but do not be fooled. This is the best Predator film. This film is all about making us root for the Predator. How do you make us root for the monster that we've loved for 30 years at this point? You make him an individual amongst the clan. Deck is by far the best developed character in this entire franchise. One more movie that is proof that ratings don't matter. This is a Predator movie that is PG-13, and it is the most violent Predator movie. It has the best kills in the franchise by far. And it does the mixing in of franchises really well. It doesn't do it at a cost of narrative. It doesn't do it at a cost of telling an individual, unique story from a unique vision by director Dan Trachtenberg, who at this point has made 3 Predator movies, but honestly, he's technically made like 6 Predator stories, and all of them are so distinct from one another. I genuinely love this film. Yes, I had a great experience just watching it in a cinema with a friend. We were both genuinely blown away by how good this was. This is a film that really elevates the franchise as a whole and continues with the idea from the original, where you can have this action extravaganza, bombastic, violent sci-fi action flick that is not grounded whatsoever, but you can ground the story through ideas. Then Trachtenberg just nails it. Let this man make every single Predator movie for the rest of his life. You know, make him the Kevin Feige of Predators. That sounds fucking terrible. I regret saying that in those words. Going up, up, up to our number 10 spot, certifying its golden status. Don't worry, those are all the puns I could fit into this. K-Pop Demon Hunters was the biggest surprise of 2025. I genuinely only watched this film, luckily on the weekend it came out, because a friend told me, you should watch it. I think you're going to like it. I genuinely had put it on the background, and 10 minutes into it, I was paying full, undivided attention, and I don't regret it whatsoever. The animation is gorgeous. This film is visually astounding. There's no right in a world where this film first landed on Netflix. Thankfully, they sort of fixed it. The sing-along versions in cinemas were fantastic. I went to 2 of them. I belted out Your Idol without missing a key or a note, or however you want to call it. The songs are all bangers. There's no world where all of them are not the full body of nominees for Best Original Song. It has to be Your Idol, it has to be Free, it has to be Golden, it has to be This Is What It Sounds Like, and it has to be Takedown. Those are the songs. I want them to be performed during the ceremony, bar none, no questions asked. Give me the Saja Boys, give me Huntrix, give me 1,000 more sequels. The story is so good, the characters are so compelling. Huntrix with Rumi's secret and the Saja Boys with Jinu's secret and how they come together. Such a beautiful love story, one of the best love stories of the year. We're gonna talk about the best one in a few spots above. This film has no right being this good. And this is what I like about this film. It has no right being this good, and yet it is even better than what it actually is. That makes no sense, but it's such a great movie. Why am I still waiting for a sequel? The Naked Gun might not be lightning in a bottle like the original was, but it is easily the best comedy of the past 10 years. I don't remember the last time I was watching a film and I was having trouble breathing. I don't remember the last time I was watching a comedy and I missed jokes because the entire audience and myself were laughing so loud. This film understood what it was. This film understood what it was adapting. This film understood what kind of culture and world it was coming into. Liam Neeson's casting was beyond perfect. His performance was beyond phenomenal. Obviously, it's not going to happen, but you cannot convince me this is not a performance that is worthy of an Oscar nomination. The way this film plays into itself, the way the film plays into the doubts, the dangers, the naysayers coming into this film, It is not afraid whatsoever to make fun of itself, to have fun with itself. Every moment it finds to land a joke, it lands it. The success rate of this film is insane. Some of the most quotable moments of the entire in film are in here. I don't remember the last time where, for months since this film came out, every time me and my movie friends are together, we're quoting this film back and forth and laughing our asses off. I was crying watching this film. The way it plays into the noir element, because now noir is so old, like that's something not even the original could do as much. Every time I'm feeling blue and I just need to laugh, this is going to be one of those guaranteed hits of dopamine for myself. Park Chan-wook's No Other Choice was not what I expected. It didn't help that I was one of the first people in the world to see it at the Venice Film Festival, but it gives every other film in existence a run for its money when it comes to being described as unconventional. In part, this is exactly what you want, what you expect from a Park Chan-wook film. It is dark, it is mean, it is poignant, it is a film of our time that is a frightening reflection of our reality and honestly where we are headed. This guy is just really one of the smartest filmmakers in the world. He's got his finger on the pulse of what is going on, and he's very methodical with his storytelling. His editing is genuinely insane. I don't expect this film to even be nominated for best editing, but this film should win best editing. The transitions this man honestly creates for film in this one movie alone are mind-blowing. What I didn't expect this film to be was hilarious. Now, I'm not saying this is a better comedy than The Naked Gun. This isn't an outright comedy because it's also very dark. It's also very thematically deep and heavy in what it's saying, and it's saying it very successfully. Byung-hun Lee is insanely good in this film. The story of his marriage falling apart, losing his job, and what he decides to do to get a new job is the hilarious part. The best sales pitch I can give you is the devoted family man becomes the most incompetent hitman of all time. This is a really fucking funny movie, and it's unusual in how it is funny. There's not outright jokes, there's not outright gags, but the bits, the awkward situations that it creates for our character, the way he sort of fails upwards in this film is insanely tactful by Park Chan-wook. He just does movies like no one else does. This is the film to me that is closer to being that unique experience that for so many others, One Battle After Another has been. Just couldn't believe what I was watching. I couldn't believe that this film was made. This film is going to be out soon, at least at the time I was watching it. This film should be watched by everyone who doesn't watch international films, because this is the shit you're missing out. And it's just a joy to be able to witness them in a packed theater and witnessing the juxtaposition of the realistic darkness, but also the realistic ridiculousness of the situation. Zootopia 2 fits perfectly into our next spot because it is yet another poignant story that needs to be told. It is such a wonderful film that pairs so well with the original to give us the best animated film of the year. Don't get me wrong, I'm still rooting for K-pop Demon Hunters because right now that's the underdog. I'm always going to root for the underdog. It took 9 years for Disney to give us a sequel to a film that, number one, was incredibly well received, number two, made $1 billion at the box office, number three, won the Oscar for Best Picture, and it took him 9 years? Yeah, worth it. Because it's really good. The story with Judy and Nick on here about them accepting their own flaws, about them learning to be vulnerable with each other because they're still learning from their experiences with each other in the first film, where the first film was so much more story driven. The story here is still powerful. It still hits all the right beats, all the right emotions, but the fact that it is so character centric and it's about self-destruction and about how we need to come together, the sense of community has been lost, and that is both applied on a macrocosm and on a microcosm when it comes to these characters. There's something really sweet that, again, just shouldn't have worked, because on the surface it feels so similar to the original, and yet it tells an entirely new story, entirely new environments. Zootopia 2 on the surface should have really twisted its story and its characters on its head, but instead it really steers into the obvious and points out how easy it is to miss when it comes to the world around us, the people we love around us, and honestly, even with ourselves, even when the reflection is staring back, pointing daggers at us, and we still might miss the thing that cost us the better version of ourselves. Hamnet is a film I hold a big grudge against because, let me tell you, this film fucking crushed my soul. I was weeping for the final 15 minutes of this film, to the point my friend had to grab hold of my hand, asking me constantly, "Are you okay?" A Shakespeare adaptation? Hell yeah! Shakespeare is one of the best writers in the world. Jessie Buckley blew my fucking mind. She is astonishing here. She is genuinely, by far, the best performance I've seen all year. Holy shit on a stick, if she does not win the Best Actress Oscar, I will never trust the Academy again. This is by far the best performance, again, that I've seen all year, which doesn't help that I'm not the biggest Paul Mescal fan, because he's good. He's really good, I will even say, in this film. Those final 15 minutes, he is fantastic. Jessie Buckley blows everyone else out of the water. I don't think you can watch this film and, number one, not be affected by the story, because it is heavy, and it is a film that, yes, you're going to feel sad. This film is not shy about that, so just be forewarned. It plays on such a raw, intimate level. You don't believe you're watching someone act. You honestly believe you're watching someone suffer and go through the grind of life like nobody fucking deserves to go. You know we've never been more back when superhero movies are back in the top 5 films of the year, starting with Thunderbolts, a film that, much like Hamnet, made me properly sob. It's a film about depression, so of course Depression Boy really enjoyed it. I know that's the shittiest superhero name of all time, but you know, Depression Boy fits me like a glove, just like this story fits all of these characters. Marvel made a film about something. Broken people that need healing, and you cannot heal alone. I love how the third act of this film transforms into an intimate exploration of the brokenness of each of these characters. How throughout this story you have these little hints at what it actually is about, despite what it's literally like doing on the surface at first glance. This is not a superhero film like any other. This takes a different approach. It is raw, it is mean, it is nasty. It is nasty about itself, it is nasty to itself, it is nasty to its characters, and it has these characters combating and pushing off the thing about themselves they need to embrace. I just love how this film just develops relationships so well. Not only relationships we already know were there with Elena and Bob, Bucky and John Walker, but it embraces these characters that were specifically chosen for this film for the reasons that make this film work. These are characters that are side characters. They were never the main guys. They're not the people the world counts on. But everyone wants to be relied on. Everyone wants to be the person that others can count on. Everyone does such a great job in here. This is one of the best Florence Pugh performances I have ever seen. This is one of the best Sebastian Stan performances. One of the best Wyatt Russell performances. Lewis Pullman is fantastic as Sentry. He has that everyman quality where you believe this is just a nobody that is certainly thrust into this heightened world of superheroes. And when he turns into the void, Jake Schreier does such a great job at instantly making you so afraid of him. It is such brilliant writing, really well done, specifically well done for the superhero genre, how it contrasts what that world is compared to what the real world of mental health and having these flaws and having to grow through them is. It marries these two ideas brilliantly together. And that is why it belongs in our top 5 this year. Jay Kelly is the best movie about movies this year. It is a beautiful story about redemption, an earnest tale of friendship, all about how much we can love the arts, artistry. You can win all the awards, you can receive all the laurels just because this is such a part of who you are. This is so much what you have to do, what you have to be. It doesn't mean he'll love you back. And the way this film reflects that is the best possible version of it. Love this George Clooney performance. It's the best he's been in a long time. George Clooney is not an actor I've always loved. I've always thought he was fine. This is the story, the role he's worked his entire career off of. The way he's built his career is a perfect reflection of why he's perfect for this role and why this role, this character, this story really works with him at the helm. And who would have known George Clooney and Adam Sandler would have insanely great chemistry? This is your rightful winner of the Best Supporting Actor, ladies and gentlemen. This is Adam Sandler's best performance. I love their dynamic in this film, their back and forth, their spats. I love their love for each other, how they convey it on screen. I love how much of an asshole, of a self-centered jerk Jay Kelly can be, but also how grounded Noah Baumbach makes this character all through the story. Something that I always speak about when it comes to Noah Baumbach films, and specifically Noah Baumbach characters, is how he injects this everyday mundane quality to all of his characters. There's something in the characters portrayed in his stories that you see something reflected of your life, of your day-to-day life in his movies. How I know that person, I have met that person, or they're your brother, they're your sister, they're your friend, they're the man from the grocery shop that you always go to. And in this case, even Jay Kelly, one of the biggest superstars in the world, he makes that direct connection on screen. Again, national treasure Laura Dern is fantastic in this. The small yet pivotal role that Riley Keough has to play in this is wonderful. That sequence in the forest is fantastic. And the quote, "All my memories are movies," has been ingrained in my brain ever since I saw this film. I could not have asked for a better opening film for the Venice Film Festival. This is what I started the festival with, and it set the bar extremely high. Honestly, it was only beaten by one other film, which we'll get to in a bit. Fantastic Four is our number 3, and no, I will not call it that stupid full name. It's the Fantastic Four. It's as annoying for you as it is for me that it's not a number 4. Genuinely one of the most complete superhero films I have ever seen. I was excited to finally have a properly done Fantastic Four movie, one that looked perfect, looked perfectly cast, felt perfect on the surface. It was even better than I expected. I cannot believe that I finally live in a world where Galactus was brought to life so gloriously. Our fantastic family is perfectly cast. All of them get such a moment to shine, such beautiful moments. And Matt Shankman clearly understands these characters. Through the course of 2 hours, we get to see them as a family, as superheroes, as explorers, as helpers in their community. We get to see them use their powers for mundane things to help the citizens, to be leaders of this community, be these beacons that everyone can depend on, and you understand why why they depend on these people. And then you get to see them become parents, that readjustment. This is the heart of the film. You get to see where every single one of them is needed as a team member. You get to see where the heart of the team is in Sue. You get to see where Reed, beautifully played by Pedro Pascal, so dialed down, so earnest in what he has to deliver. I love the story Matt Shakman chose to tell. Gave them such a distinct style, such a distinct vibe. They exist so much in the world that is very much the world of the Fantastic Four. It is beautifully done as a story of family, as a story of depending on others, and seeing that moment of Sue standing in front of everyone with baby Franklin on her lap, communicating everyone, where you see Reed is not the spokesperson for the Fantastic Four. He's the lead scientist, he's the smartest man in the world, but he is not a good communicator. And in comes Sue, the true leader of the Fantastic Four, the mom of the group, not just literally for Franklin. This is a fantastic film that I just forget is a superhero film. Just as much as I forgot that I was saying it's a fantastic film, I didn't even notice it was a pun. Sinners certifies Ryan Coogler as one of the master filmmakers of this generation. Experiencing this in a full cinema, and trust me, I still remember it was hot as fuck, and it just lent itself to experiencing this story come to life. Such a unique tale of identity, of Americana, of music, the use of music for the narrative, for the emotional nature of the film. Michael B. Jordan, take a bow. Haley Steinfeld, I understand why Shamik Moore went nuts on Twitter, because god damn, this film is incredible. It looks beautiful. You feel immersed in this shed with everyone dancing, feeling the music. Miles Catton is a revelation. Holy shit, Jack Rayner. It's not even the best role I've seen him this year. But again, we're going to talk about that in the review for next year. Ryan Coogler is not afraid to wear his influences on his sleeve, but that is not damaging to the film whatsoever. Quite the opposite, in fact. You can see so much of what influenced him to create such a unique experience. And the way the film plays as one thing for the first half, and then brings in the vampires and the gore and the violence, and how that contrasts to what the film is actually saying for the first half, is something astonishing. I had a big grin on my face because I knew the moment the vampires came in, we were just starting the second hour, I knew I was watching something special. This is something that barely moved all through the year. I need to see Ryan Coogler make more genre films. It is such an all-encompassing full story where there's tragedy and triumph and loss and victory, and you feel this full spectrum of emotions so fully. And it's a film that throughout its runtime is never afraid to take risks, be it genre risks or storytelling risks. And you know, despite all the vampires being mean and all, the most satisfying thing in this film is seeing a bunch of fucking racists being shot down at the end. Oh my, I could not get enough of this film. I cannot get enough of just thinking about it. Some of the camera movements, the cinematography, sun-drenched and warm. You just feel transported to a time, a place, a night where everyone just comes together and everyone is a fucking badass. I want to be right next to those guys shooting down some vampires. There's barely any experiences that were any better than this one. But there is one. There is one film this year that I gave 5 stars to. That is one film this year that would have been an A+. And that film is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein is not just a perfect film, it is a perfect adaptation and a perfect reinvigoration of the classic by Mary Shelley. This film captures all the beauty, all the whimsy, all the tragedy of a monster story. Monster stories are and have always been a reflection of our biggest sins and demons as a species, as mankind. And Frankenstein might just be Guillermo del Toro's best film yet. Oscar Isaac is brilliant in this as a man haunted by his own success. I love so much of the dialogue that he is given. It is ingrained in my brain ever since I watched this film. Christoph Waltz, he never misses. He is so delightfully prickish in this film. You just know this guy is up to no good as soon as you seen him, and yet he is so earnest in his passion, in his fascination by what Victor Frankenstein can accomplish. The set design is mind-blowingly spectacular. Talk about something transportative. From the set in the North Pole with a ship, to the big tower, to the forest, to the cave at the end. God, I could just eat up all of these sets. I want all of these illustrations in my house. It is such a gorgeous looking film where every shot is a painting. The score is the best score of the entire year, and it's not even close. The thing that really blew my mind, Jacob Elordi, the performance of his life. I generally don't even know what they would have done if Andrew Garfield had kept the role. That's how good Jacob Elordi is. Not only in his physicality, the way he transforms his body throughout the film as the creature, the way his speech transforms throughout the film, his mannerism transforms, the cruelty, the brutality, but also the softness, the kindness, the sequence with him and the old man played by David Bradley. That sequence alone is the best film of the year, not to mention the entirety of Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. I am so happy I decided at the London Film Festival to last minute switch my ticket for whatever movie I was going to watch to just rewatch Frankenstein again. I still remember coming out of the Venice Film Festival and being the only person out of my group of friends, and I was with Luke Hearfield and many people you guys all know, people from Next Best Picture, and I was the only guy who was like, I fucking love that. That is the best film of the year. It didn't change. This is the film that made me love films the most this year. This is the film that reminded me why I do this, even though I stopped doing this for most of the year, but I so want to talk about Frankenstein. I love the Rashomon structure where you see a man coming to terms with his sins and you see his biggest sin claiming the story for himself. From the moment the creature wakes up and Frankenstein claims the sun is life, to that final shot where he just embraces the sun and he accepts to live with this curse that I cannot die, so I have no other choice but to live. And every day that doesn't work, every day that the world rejects me, every day that I'm told that I shouldn't be here, I'm going to make the choice, I'm going to make the decision to embrace the light, embrace the sun. There is such beauty, but also grotesqueness to Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, and the way he balances the beauty with the ugliness, the hate, the envy, the human disease that is fear, with this creature that is pure and innocent, learning to embrace our world. The contrast between the greedy and the self-centered scientific approach, and once you get the success, it becomes hollow. It becomes nothing, because where is there now? Now that Victor Frankenstein has accomplished what he aimed to accomplish his whole life, and he resents it for being successful. He rejects the creature, he abuses the creature just like he was abused as a kid. And then you have the stories, the storytelling with the old men, the arts, nature and purity and empathy and compassion. It is the most emotive filmmaking I have seen all year. Guillermo del Toro just does not miss, and he keeps outdoing himself in how he brings stories to life, what he says with his stories, and how he keeps redeeming the monsters that for so long were misinterpreted throughout our stories. And that's why these stories are important to keep telling, and that is why no one understands empathy, no one understands monsters, no one understands whimsy and the fantastical like Guillermo del Toro does. And that is why Frankenstein is the best movie of 2025. But that's only my top 20 movies of the year. Let me know your favorite films of the year. Let me know your worst films of the year. I don't have time to do that list, but you sure do in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Get ready because we're going back full throttle in 2026. Next up is my most anticipated films of the year, and you all know I have a tough choice to make between all the films coming out. So I hope to see you there, and until next time, my friends, love each other and love the movies. I didn't forget that one, see?